I think we all want to ask is, tell us, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing great. It's been like a little bit of a long road. It feels like it's been longer than it actually has been, but I'm doing really well. My leg was affected by the wound, and I've had some trouble walking, but now I'm up and moving around and hoping to be jogging again soon and running again soon. So,
talk to me, before we get into details of December 27th, talk to me about what inspired you to become a police officer. Is this a lifelong dream of yours?
No, I was actually a project manager before this, and I'm just very purpose-driven. So I had joined the Army National Guard as a way to kind of, do something a little more meaningful to me. And when I joined the National Guard, I actually met a New York City police officer in training, and she told me how she loved her job and she worked with her best friends, and it was, the coolest thing she could ever do. She loved it. And I lived in the city of Lakewood at the time, and they happened to be hiring, so I put in an application, and I thought, I'll try one time. If it works out, it's meant to be, and if it doesn't, I'll just continue on my project manager journey, and here I am. So I think it was meant to be.
And what kind of roles have you had at Lakewood?
Well, I'm on patrol. That's been my primary duty. I recently became a field trainer. I'm on the mentor board, the new hire mentor board. I'm a CPR instructor. I'm A-RIDE certified. Just little things like that. PT instructor. I really like the mentoring and teaching roles. They're my favorite.
So was it the right decision for you, looking back?
Oh, absolutely.
Even though you've been wounded and been through all this?
I wouldn't change a thing. I love it.
What do you love about it?
The people. The absolute hands down hardest part of this has been not being with my friends. My friends are the ones who pulled me out of there and took good care of me, and to have them out on the street without me, I feel like a very strong need to protect them. And I know they can handle themselves, but it's hard to be away from them and not be able to be there for them. And I love the community. I get to talk to people in the community every day. It's fun, it's different, it changes. It's great. I love this job.
When do you expect to be back active?
I don't know when I'll come back to patrol. It kind of depends on when I can run again. But I am coming back and I'm going to be a detective for a while in investigations, and I actually start back here this month. So I'm ready to.
Right now you're on light duty?
Yes, that's correct.
What are you doing right now?
So I'll be following up on casework and warrants and stuff like that. Just desk stuff for now.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened to your leg?
When I was hit in the abdomen, the bullet fragmented, and the fragments actually hit my sciatic nerve. So my right leg was paralyzed on scene. I couldn't use it at all. And when I woke up, I still wasn't able to use it. And so I had a walker for a while, and then a cane, and now I'm able to walk. I don't have a limp anymore. It's really coming along, so I'm hopeful that I'll be running soon.
Did you have to go through surgery, or is that just the work of PT?
I had 2 surgeries, and then I've been doing a lot of physical therapy.
Did the bullet go under your vest?
It's really hard to say. Honestly, I don't understand the angles or anything. I just know it went through it. There's a wound below my belt on the back side, and then I have a wound on the front. So I'm not exactly sure, but it was through and through.
And can you tell us what you remember about that night? Starting with, when you first got to work, and just walk us through everything.
Yeah, so I was actually, I'll start with when I first heard the information. I was actually on another call. I wasn't assigned to the call, but I was just there with my friends in case they needed help. And then I heard that Denver had information on a guy possibly involved in some homicides, but he wasn't in our city yet. It was just airing information. A short time later, I heard an alert tone that we had a homicide in the north sector of our city. So I started to head that way because I figured they'd need help either with the scene or with handling other calls while they managed that scene. And sure enough, when I was on my way up north, another officer located the van that he was associated to, and they initiated a traffic stop. He fired at those officers and ran from them. I happened to take a perimeter spot. I knew that he was involved with some tattoo shops. I didn't know the details, but there was a tattoo shop to the north of me that I thought maybe he could be headed towards. So I took a perimeter spot at West Alaska and South Vance. And sure enough, he walked up to me. He was wearing a police vest and loading magazines. So I wasn't sure if he was from another agency. I knew other agencies were involved. I didn't know who he was at all. I didn't see a gun, I just saw magazines. And so when he approached me, I asked who he was. I asked where he was coming from. He said he had come from the Wells Fargo. And I didn't know at the time that he had fired his gun in the area of the Wells Fargo. So I asked him if he was private security there, because sometimes they wear, police identifiers and stuff. And then I don't remember what he said after that, because I knew, you have a gut feeling, and I knew that this was the guy. He made a quick movement with his right hand, and I tried to stop his hand. I backed up and got distance and drew my gun, and I told him, "Don't do this." And he said, "I'll show you what I'll do." And he displayed a gun from somewhere under his jacket or something, I can't recall. And then we were engaged in a gunfight. So.
After you were wounded,
Mm-hmm.
what instinct kicked in for you to continue firing your weapon?
I really fell back on my training. We have great training at Lakewood, and to be honest with you, I didn't have to do much thinking. It was all very automatic, and I knew that this guy had obviously intentions to kill, and I didn't want him to hurt anyone else. There were tons of people in the area. My friends were out there, other officers, the community, and plus, I didn't want to let him win. So I didn't do much thinking. I just stopped the threat.
What's going through your heart, your mind in these moments? It's kind of like a life or death moment. Kind of this person might have killed other people. What's going through your heart and mind during it?
I was angry. Honestly, I was angry. I was like, how dare he? How dare he do this? And, but all things considered, the best thing he could have done was display his weapon to me. Because at the time, I didn't see his weapon. I didn't know who he was. He had police identifiers on. What if I had let him walk away? But instead, he made the choice to fire his gun at me, and he sealed his fate that way. So I knew that he was the bad guy at that time, and I didn't have much else thinking to do.
Knowing now kind of what you've learned about, what happened, how you are now our community hero, how does that feel?
It's strange. I don't feel like a hero. I feel like I did my job, and this is what the community needs us to do, and it's my honor and my privilege to do it. I will say that I've had some people ask me if I'm going to come back to patrol, and I think I've made it clear already that that's where my heart is, and I absolutely will be back, because the community really showed up for me. I have drawers full of cards, blankets, mugs. I look at them all the time, and this community showed up for me so much, and I'm going to continue to show up for them.
The autopsy showed that he had 3 bullets, kind of in a trajectory going down. Were those all your bullets?
Yes.
So tell us how that happened. He shot you in the stomach. You started going down.
Yeah,
You started shooting.
Yeah, he shot at me and then he ran. And I can't tell you exactly which rounds hit when. I believe I had fired some rounds before I actually hit the ground, but there's no way to know which bullets hit him when. But yeah, they were mine, and he was running. I was able to see when I hit him, he fell, and I remember thinking, okay, I've got him, he's down.
So you were both down?
Yes, at one point, yeah.
How long did it take? You were both lying there bleeding. About how far away was he from you?
That's hard to say. He was on the other side of my patrol car. I could see him between my tires. I was like lying on the ground, and I angled myself so that I could see him between the tires of my patrol vehicle. So he was in the front, and I was probably 15 feet behind the patrol car. And so I couldn't see exactly what he was doing, or he was just kind of like shadowed on the ground, but I was able to see him.
Did you have any conversation, or was he dead? Or was he just out?
At that time, I didn't know. I maintained suppressive fire and didn't know if he was taking a prone position, didn't know if he was reloading. I just did what I could to maintain my safety, and then sure enough, the cavalry came in and they scooped me out of there. They took control of the situation, and then they handled the rest. I got to go to sleep after that. So
you were hit first?
I believe so, yeah. I think so. I fired as soon as I saw his gun, but I think I was hit first.
What, do you remember at any point after you were hit, were you worried that you might die?
I was. There was kind of a moment when we were both on the ground, and I remembered thinking how quiet and peaceful it was. I had some pretty severe auditory exclusion, so it was actually silent for me. I didn't hear any of the sirens, I didn't hear any of the gunshots or anything. And I just remember thinking, like, I was looking at the lights reflecting on the street, and I remember thinking it was just kind of like peaceful. And I wasn't really scared at that moment, but when my peers came, the other agents came and got me, my brain kind of transitioned from survival mode to like, okay, what's this situation? And I do remember thinking like, how bad is this? But the scariest part for me was when the other officer carried me into St. Anthony's Hospital. He had me over his shoulder and he was yelling, "Officer down, officer down." And thinking about that even right now, I still get goosebumps because it was hard for me to believe that I was the officer down. And it still doesn't feel like it was me.
How did this affect you emotionally? How are you doing emotionally?
I'm fine. I think this has been, all things considered, it sounds silly, but I think this has been a good event for me. It's given me a better focus on what matters. I stress less about traffic, I can tell you that. It's been a big reset for my life. But not everybody gets to experience the support and the love that I've gotten to experience after this incident. It's obviously a horrible tragedy what happened, and I can sit around and be mopey about my injuries and, be a sad Sally, but other people lost their lives and I didn't. I was fortunate and I have nothing to complain about. So emotionally, I think I'm doing great. I just can't wait to be back to work.
Did you get counseling at any point?
Yeah, I've been seeing a psychologist, and it's going well, and we make a lot of jokes and hang out. It's fine.
How often are you going to PT now? How much work has that taken to be walking again?
It's taken quite a bit of work, and medications, and kind of figuring out the right recipe. I go to physical therapy multiple times a week, and I think most of it has just been time, letting the nerves regrow and heal.
How much physical pain are you in now? Because that sciatic nerve can cause a really strong burning sensation. Do you have a lot of physical pain at the moment?
I do. The back of my leg feels sunburned all the time, but mostly for me it's numbness. I lose feeling in my foot occasionally. But it comes and goes, and we're managing it fairly well. I've got a great team working with me through this and figuring out the right combination for me.
How's your family doing?
They're emotional, but they're thankful that I'm okay, and I think they're more excited about, just the recognition and everything that I've gotten. I think that's good for them. They really appreciate that. So.
Are you from Colorado?
No, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Delaware.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you have in your lap, and do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, so these are, so I really wanted to say thank you to Girl Scout Troop 68220. they actually gave me this card, and they included a Band-Aid for me. I'm sorry to say I did not use this Band-Aid. It was just too special, so I used some other ones. They weren't as cool. But they made me this great card. And I also have another card here from a Lakewood family. This one was on my fridge the day after I got home from the hospital. And one of their daughters drew a picture for me, but they have 3 little girls, and they wrote to me about how much it meant to them that I stopped a scary situation where they live. And then I have another one here. This is from a preschool in Delaware where my mom works. They did some fingerprints for me. But these are the kind of things that I look at. I've had hard moments. It's not been all sunshiny and lucky me. I've had some hard moments, but stuff like this, how often do you get to be a hero to a group of young girls? Like, that's pretty cool.
I know it's 2022, and that's one thing I wanted to ask you. It was pretty cool for all of us to see that a woman had taken him down. You just don't see it that often.
Yeah.
Is that significant to you at all? Or do you just feel like you're just another cop and, the fact that little girls are looking up to you now?
It's significant to me in that regard. I'm happy to be a role model for some young girls. And I think females in policing, I think it's so important. We have a different style of communication. And actually, the reason I applied to Lakewood specifically was they had a video about women in policing, and it was a recruiting video. And I thought, they really respect women in this career field, and it'll be a good fit for me. And that's why I chose Lakewood. So I do think it's important. It's happenstance that it was me. I think it's excellent that it was me because I was small enough where they could throw me in a patrol car when I was injured and get me to the hospital quick. I do think the irony is kind of beautiful. But, other than that, it's just happenstance that it was me.
What irony are you talking about?
Well, that guy didn't like women so much, so.
I do want to ask, have you heard from any of the family members of those who died that day?
I've not heard from the family. I did receive a card from one of the victim's best friends. That's on my fridge. And I actually met with a former apprentice of Alicia Cardenas. His name's Ian Spencer, and I met with him, and he actually did a tattoo for me in the style that she used to tattoo. So that was really meaningful to me.
What's the tattoo of?
It's kind of like a geometric pattern on my shin. Yeah.
On the same leg that was injured?
No, it was on my good leg.
Are you married?
No, I'm not.
And what was, just back for a second.
Sure.
To the incident, what was the closest you ever got to him physically? Would you say, roughly?
It was pretty close. I touched him at one point.
When was that?
That was when he made a quick movement with his right hand. I reached out to stop his hand because I assumed he was reaching for a gun.
So you were a foot away from him?
Yeah, we were very close.
You say, now you're like so excited to get back to work. This is really crystallized my drive. But during these past 5 months, have there ever been any moments where you doubted whether you would return to policing?
Nope, not one.
Yeah, focused.
What was he wearing when you saw him besides the police vest? Did he have on a mask or anything like that? Was there anything strange about his dress?
Not that I recall.
Or
He
his eyes?
was in dark clothing, and I can't tell you much about the guy. I didn't take much energy or emotional strain to learn anything about him. I don't think it's worth my time, and I don't even remember what he looks like.
2 more questions.
Did he have a crazed look in his face? Did you know instantly that something was wrong?
Yeah, my gut knew, but there's a million things going through your mind. It was only a couple seconds of conversation, and then we were engaged in a gunfight. So, just a lot of things going through my mind. I can't say that he was any kind of way or angry, or I don't know what his emotions were, but he had a plan in mind, and my only option was to react to his plan.
Last question.
What would you want people to know at home, or what would you want to leave us with?
I would really like to thank everyone. The outpouring of support has been, it's been paramount in my healing and my recovery. St. Anthony's did an amazing job. The ICU staff there took great care of me. They went above and beyond. When I was able to first eat again, they went and got me a milkshake. And I mean, just they were great. You know, the cards, the letters, I hope everyone knows that I read every card. And I've read them all multiple times. I haven't thrown out a single thing. The other agencies who've sent me challenge coins and patches, they're all proudly displayed in my house. You don't get a lot of opportunities in life to see that kind of love and support. And I think in a time where policing is kind of a tough job, that was just incredible to see. I can't thank everyone enough. It meant a lot to me.
Did you get hundreds of cards?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
And then, sorry, how long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital twice, first for I think 11 days, and then I actually had to go back because I developed an infection near the surgery site, and then I was back for about a week.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.